Hello everyone, here we are again with another review from a guy who's basically an amateur reefer. I've only been doing it a couple of years. This is the first actually bespoke marine tank I've got, my Reef Pro 1500 DD. And today we're going to talk about the Maxspect Jump 165 LEDs, which as you can see I've got two of over the 5-foot tank. Now, main reason I went for these was price really. They're £215 I think I got them for each, and that can also has the brackets in with them as well, because obviously all the others, the AI primes and the Red Seas, you have to buy the brackets separately, so they end up being about 400 quid a light. They're just ramping up to their maximum in the middle of the day, which is I think it's 85% of the purple, about 80% on the royal blues, and then the rest of the channels, I think the other blue channel is about 60 and the rest are like 20, and no reds on. I'm not really going to go into this review on all the different settings you can do on the app and everything like that. There's lots of videos online with that. This is just a pure guy in the UK that's bought some when setting up a tank, and yeah, just see what my thoughts are. They've been up and running in about 2-3 months. This tank's been going. I previously used a black box with some T5s, which gave me nice growth, but they just didn't give the colour that I wanted, and they weren't adjustable for the spectrum. And the main reason why I got hanging ones like these is because the wife liked the look of them. It's happy wife, happy life, especially in reefing. So we'll just go through the lights. They have 6, probably have it on my phone, 6 lights within them. Now these middle ones seem to be the whites and the UVs more than anything, and then the rest of them sort of mix all the colours. I'm trying to drop my phone, you can't really see the different levels in there. As I say, they've got an app. You can sync up the app to either be direct to your phone, or they can be actually put on the cloud, so I can adjust the lights whenever I'm out of the house. And again, if you want to see some of the app, then go and have a look at some of the other videos online. The disco balding I don't find too bad. I know some people don't like it. Yes, there's shimmer. Yes, there is a little bit of disco balding, because these lights are a bit white at the moment. I've not actually got any filter on my phone, and the window, which is there, is letting some natural light in as well. But I think they look really nice. We've got lots of bits here that are growing nicely. A rock flower, got some acans. My elegance is usually a lot bigger than that, but about half hour before filming this video, one of the hermits crawled right across it and upset it a bit. Same with this toadstool over here. I've only just moved it to that part of the tank. I've been having a bit of a rearrange as to where things go to look nice. There is a bubble tip anemone in here as well, but I was faffing with these zoas on this rock here and I've knocked it, and he's now sulking. On a 5-foot, you're okay. You're pushing in like a little bit at the outer edges, but like I've done, as long as you're clever with where you put your corals, like your low light softies at the edges. I mean, like these mushrooms down here are expanding out and growing quite nicely. These red ones go nice and big, and this blasto seems really happy around here. Interestingly enough, the blasto is the most bulletproof coral you will ever get. I've in the tank chaoses that I've had with leaking tanks and all sorts, I have crushed this under a rock. I have had my heater fall on top of it when it was in the emergency setup, and it has come back better than I've ever seen it in this tank. There is a softie over the back there which is having a bit of a sulk on, but again that was part of the rearrange. That's only just had a move. One of the most impressive bits is I've got this chalice which was barely touching the side of that rock, and as you can see it's now actually growing and encrusting. I actually think I've had at least 1 mil, if not 2 mils of expansion on that just in the past 2-3 weeks, so it's growing really nicely. So the tracky's opening up good, and up here On the left, I've got this bit of SPS that was I thought was completely dead. When I had the tank leak, it was sat at the bottom of the tank I was using to store everything. I did have my lights on it, but it didn't get any light, and it basically looked like a dead bit of coral. That's now actually starting to get polyp extension out, and it's actually starting to colour up quite nicely. So yeah, ultimately, I really like these lights. There are a couple of downsides, which I'm going to talk about. First of all, you can see this digi here is growing quite nicely. However, in the mist, might be symptomatic of just running 2 LEDs. There are bits of it underneath that you can see aren't actually getting any light, or enough light, so they're not really growing. Now, I have repositioned the light and repositioned this green slimer, but as you can see, the green slimer really shows it. Where it's getting no light, there is no growth. I could probably improve on that by putting a third one on, but to be honest, I don't have a spare couple of £100. Or putting some T5s or something on it. But I like the spread at the moment, so I might get a third light at some point. As I say, yes, they are £200, so if you've got spare £200, it's easy to chuck on, because compared to a Red Sea, that would be another £400, or even a cheap AI Prime. Unless you go second hand, you're not going to get for a lot. The brackets themselves are quite good, but it does lead on to another downside that we're going to talk about. They've got a nice cable retention system. There's some clips that go in, and you've got these parts here where it's basically made up in 3 sections, and then you've got bolts that you tighten as you go. Now, the only downside, which you might have just seen then, is the bits that hold them on the tank, the clamps. The screws come out quite far. Part of the reason I moved this light over a little bit was to centre on the rock, but also because it was hitting my weir. And I've actually had to take the top screws out because I couldn't get my jump guard on very easily. It was hanging over, and it looked rubbish with those top screws in. So it is a bit of a downside that they're big, but it's also a bit of a plus because you can adjust the angle on your tank. You can lean it backwards or forwards depending on how you do those particular screws, and then we'll have a gratuitous top down of the tank. But yeah, ultimately I think they're cracking lights for the money. Much better than all these cheap black boxes, which I have used. Yes, I have grown coral and SPS with, but most of those are about £120. For an extra £100 you get one of these. So I think one on a 3-foot you wouldn't really get away with. One on a 2-foot or 2 on a 4-foot works, and as you see, as long as you're clever with your coral placement, 2 on a 5-foot does actually work, but you might struggle a little bit with some of the SPS. But hopefully that's helped you guys and girls out if you're thinking of getting one of these, and I'll see you in the next vid.